Alright, hello everyone and welcome to NFL Discussion Thrown in the Towel Week 6 edition. And this is a weekly segment during the NFL season on my channel where every week I pick one team and throw in the towel on their season. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into it, starting with the AFC East, which has one team representing it this week, and that is the New England Patriots. The Bills, Jets, and Dolphins all got wins. And make no mistake, the Patriots are bad. Really bad. Mac Jones might be the worst quarterback in the league. At this point, the more the losses stack up, the better it might be for New England, as it gives them a better shot at an elite quarterback prospect in the draft. The question then becomes whether Bill Belichick will be around if that quarterback arrives. It's looking more and more like no with each ugly loss. Every great coach has their ceiling, and this season looks like it might be Bill Belichick's last. AFC North, no representatives this week. Bengals, Ravens, and Browns all got wins, and the Steelers were on a bye. AFC South, two representatives here. The Texans and the Jaguars both got wins. The Colts and Titans did not. And for the Titans, they might not want to admit it publicly, but they're a team that's fit to embrace the youth on their roster, trade some assets before the deadline, and prepare for a rebuild. On Sunday, Ryan Tannehill went down with an ankle injury and left the game in a cart. At 35 years old, with declining passing numbers over the past couple seasons, he's in the last year of his contract. Regardless of his status going forward, Tennessee should pivot away from him and see what they got in Malik Willis and Will Levis. And for the Colts, with the news that Anthony Richardson may ultimately choose shoulder surgery and be out for the rest of the season, a re-evaluation of the Colts season and where the team stands is necessary. After being throttled by the Jaguars in Jacksonville again, it's clear that the Colts don't have the firepower to compete against the best in the AFC. Gardner Minshew, well, he is who he is. Unless the offensive line is able to dig deep and create opportunities for Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, the Colts will struggle to move the ball offensively. Conversely, in these defense, sound overall, but not too aggressive, which allows opposing teams to create opportunities to regularly move the ball. The Colts have the Browns defense and the Saints defense upcoming, so what is a solid 3-2 start could shift into a 3-5 record. AFC West. This week we have the Broncos and the Chargers. Chiefs got a win. Raiders threw in the towel on them last week. They did get a win, but I'm not at this moment considering rescinding my decision to throw in the towel on the Raiders. For the Broncos, well, it wasn't supposed to be like this. They mortgaged the future to acquire Russell Wilson, and the plan was that the guy who destroyed Denver in whatever Super Bowl it was, the Seahawks beat the Broncos. Well, they were going to use that guy to get back to the promised land. They get back to the Super Bowl, which they hadn't been since like Super Bowl 50. After Denver struggled in 2022, everything basically did not work and nothing worked. The Broncos decided to make another trade, this time for a Super Bowl winning head coach in Sean Payton, and neither trade has worked at all. And to top it off, the Broncos sport the worst defense in the NFL. And for the Chargers, well, they got stymied offensively by the Cowboys, gaining just 272 yards of total offense. The team converted just 5 of 14 third down attempts and were just 2 of 4 in the red zone. So division representatives for the AFC this week: Patriots for the East, Titans for the South, Broncos for the West. Who is the team representing the AFC this week? It's the New England Patriots. Bit of a tough choice between the Patriots and the Broncos. Which team do you dislike even more? I mean, all three of those teams were were not some of the best in the AFC, but we're going with the Patriots this week. Over to the NFC side of things, starting with the NFC East. One team this week, and it's the Eagles. It's crazy to think that a team like the Eagles is even in this segment, but the Giants, well, towel's already been thrown in on them, and the Cowboys and Commanders would pick up wins. The Eagles did not, and the Eagles have yet to put together a complete effort this season, but prior to Week 6, the occasional miscue and inconsistent play had not prevented the team from winning. But Sunday in New York, it came back to bite them. The Eagles were outgained the Jets by over 100 yards, but the turning point was turnovers. Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions, and the team lost a fumble. And the team that turns the ball over more is generally the team that loses the game. NFC North, no representatives this week. Towel has been thrown in on the Bears. Lions got to win. Vikings got to win. And the Packers were on a bye. NFC South, 3 representatives this week with only the Panthers. The towel's already been thrown in on them. They didn't get a win anyway. They're 0-6. But yeah, again, towel's been thrown on them. So that just leaves the other 3 teams, the Buccaneers, Falcons, and Saints, who all lost. And for the Falcons, well, they continue to ride the ups and downs with Desmond Ridder, and as a result, we'll have to deal with the mixed results. Week 5, Ridder took a step in the right direction, throwing for a season-high 329 yards and a touchdown, but then followed that up this week with a two touchdown passes and 3 interceptions and a loss to the Commanders. Saints, and on paper, the Saints look like a team that should be able to score points. And running back Alvin Kamara and wide receivers Michael Thomas and Chris Olave, the skill position talent is there. The offensive line is at least decent. The addition of Derek Carr is supposed to be an upgrade at quarterback, but despite Carr throwing for a season-high 353 passing yards, the Saints only managed 13 points on Sunday. It marked the 5th time in 6 games that the Saints have scored 20 or fewer points, and New Orleans sits currently 24th in the league in scoring. And for most of the 2023 season, the Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield has played some of his best football, but Sunday against the Lions, he played some of his worst appearance. Bad Baker made his first appearance for the Bucs in the creamsicle uniform of all things. Go figure. In fairness, it wasn't all Mayfield's fault. Tampa Bay gained fewer than 50 yards on the ground. That running game still very much non-existent. How the Buccaneers haven't considered trading for a running back or signing somebody else and just doing anything different, because the 2 guys you got they aren't any good, and they're averaging less than 3 yards per carry practically. And also the Bucs defense just couldn't get the Lions off the field, allowing 9 third-down conversions and 16 tries. So yeah, Mayfield didn't play his best game, but again, he still has no running game, and the defense just absolutely got run over by the Lions offense. So moving on to the NFC West, a couple teams here, 49ers and Seahawks. Cardinals, towel's been thrown in on them, and the Rams got a win. Strange to see the 49ers here, but expect that to be an anomaly. Same with the Eagles. And for the Seahawks, well, Geno Smith hasn't really, in that law, Geno Smith this season has not played at the same level of his comeback player of the year season play from a year ago, played at the same level as of his comeback player of the year season in 2022. He threw a pair of costly interceptions against the Bengals. Talked about turnovers. The team that turns the ball over more loses the game. Granted, there were turnovers on both sides, but the Bengals capitalized. The Seahawks did not. 49ers were heading into a matchup against a short-handed Browns team, starting a quarterback in P.J. Walker, who not only was he making his first start for the team, but also he hadn't been with the team all season. And, well, Brock Purdy had yet to lose a regular season start. So you would think this would set up for, well, I won't say an easy win, because there's no such thing as an easy win in the NFL, but you would think things would trend in the 49ers' favor. They did not, and the streak of Brock Purdy not losing a regular season start, that streak is over for, one game at least, in part because Purdy played like a 7th-round rookie, and it could be much worse than a single loss for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel went down with injuries and did not return, and if those two, either one of those two missing significant time would be a major blow to the 49ers. So division representatives this week: Eagles in the East, they were all by themselves. Falcons in the South, and Seahawks in the West. Which of these 3 teams will be representing the NFC as a whole? It's the Atlanta Falcons. Talked about the Eagles being an anomaly on here. They might make a few more appearances maybe, but it's entirely unlikely. In the Seahawks, the Seahawks, I would still say they are a good team, but they haven't quite played great football like they did. Well, I don't even know if it was great football last season, but haven't quite played as good this season as they did last season. But ultimately, compared to the Falcons, talked about the growing pains with Desmond Ridder. That was also in the NFL discussion video on Sunday's game. I talked about the Falcons and the growing pains they're going to have to deal with Desmond Ridder. But anyway, that's the NFC representative for this week, the Falcons. So to do a quick recap: Week 1 Cardinals, Week 2 Bears, Week 3 Panthers, Week 4 Raiders, Week 5 Giants. Who is the team this week, Week 6? It's the New England Patriots. Worst team in the AFC? Probably. Between them and the Broncos, yeah, two worst teams in the AFC. I'd make the argument, though, that the Patriots are even worse. And I talked about Bill Belichick. Maybe this is his last season. Ultimately, the way I see it with the Patriots, Mac Jones and or Bill Belichick gonna lose their job this season. Not advocating for people to lose their jobs. Don't like to see people losing their jobs. But the way it's looking right now, one or both of those guys are going to lose their job. And with that will conclude this episode of NFL Discussion Thrown in a Towel. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.